I'm life and business coach Samantha Sifring, and this is the Online Business Building Mamas podcast, where you learn how to build a wildly successful business from home while raising kids. Hey mamas, welcome to another episode of the podcast. Today I am telling you everything that you want to know about my recent Mastermind launch. I've been getting so many questions from all of you about how the launch went, and you're wanting details, you're wanting to hear so much about it. And I wanted to share. I took some time recently to really evaluate the launch, and using the process that I like to use to evaluate, which I teach to all of you who are in Mama to CEO. So if you're not in Mama to CEO, you should absolutely be in there, literally, if only to learn my evaluation process. I was telling a friend the other day, she looked at my evaluation that I did for the Mastermind launch, and she was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is so valuable. Just reading this is valuable. And I told her that I really believe that evaluations are where all of the money is made or lost. Not evaluating loses you thousands of dollars. Evaluating makes you thousands of dollars. So I teach that process in Mama to CEO. You can evaluate everything that you do in your business, whether it's launches, sales calls, or anything else that you're doing. And simply that one thing would help you make thousands of dollars. If that was the only thing that you joined Mama to CEO for, the only module you ever watched, and the only thing that you ever implemented, implementing that one thing would help you make your money back and way, way more. So seriously, if you're not in there, the time is now. Come on over and join us. All right. So after I evaluated my launch, I wanted to share some of the takeaways with you. I wanted to share the behind the scenes and all of the juicy secrets that I know all of you wanted to know. So the mastermind that I just launched was a mastermind that I've never offered before. It was something brand new, the Mama CEO Mastermind, all about scaling your online business. I had a goal of signing 20 clients into this first round of the mastermind, which would make this mastermind my first multiple six-figure launch. So over 200K. I was very excited about having this goal. The biggest launch that I had ever done before was $112,000. And I did that in this past spring. So I wanted to go past that. I wanted to double that. I wanted to really just have a crazy goal and hit it. I also made some other changes as I was planning this launch. So I did a couple of different things. This was a launch where I think I would say this is probably the tightest launch plan I've ever made, the most detailed launch plan I've ever made. I did almost everything for this launch in advance. And I also think that this is the launch that I've leaned on my team the most, which was a shift for me. I'm really making a shift into being that CEO and delegating a lot of those things. And I delegated more in this launch than I ever have before. And I also, with this launch, really prioritized not hustling. So I am a hard worker. I know a lot of you have that drive to be hard workers as well. And I tend to work more than I need to for a lot of different reasons. And I was committed to not doing that in this launch. It's something that I am really focusing on in my business over the next year or so, really working less. So that was part of this launch as well. So I decided this launch was taking place in the email inbox primarily. So I was not going to do any webinar and I was not going to do any sales calls. So this would be the highest ticket thing that I have ever sold without a sales call. This would be the first launch that I haven't done sales calls for like a group of this size. Like I had always done sales calls for one-on-one and for programs that I had launched before. Everything except Mama to CEO pretty much I had done sales calls for. And webinars were like my go-to thing with launches as well. So I deleted all of these things. I decided to have emails be my primary thing. So 3 pre-launch emails and 13 launch week emails in 5 days was the plan. And I also decided as I was kind of prepping for the launch, I wanted to have the flexibility to add in a Q&A call for like a group Q&A call. So I decided to add that in as well. I thought it would be fun. I thought it would be just another way to really help me guarantee my result without going against my no hustle goal for myself. So something else that I did was preparing all of these things in advance. So I wrote all of the emails in advance, at least 4 weeks in advance, and then I edited all of them. It was all done more than a week ahead of time, a couple weeks ahead of time. I didn't have anything to do during the week of the launch except my regular work, recording podcasts, coaching my clients, and showing up to that Q&A call. So it was definitely not a frantic and hustly launch week at all. Really, I just kind of enjoyed getting notifications when applications were rolling in. Something that I did notice come up for me as I was preparing for the launch, though, is that I found myself struggling with my belief. So even though I had launched a program and filled it with 20 people before, the price was lower. So I had some stories in my mind that maybe I wouldn't be able to hit the goal. Maybe I wouldn't be able to fill this. So I was struggling with some doubt and with my belief. And I was getting kind of frustrated with myself about that. It was just like, why can't you just believe in this? And I was getting a little annoyed until I realized this. And I wanted to share this with you. First of all, because a lot of you think I never doubt anything, or I just have rock solid belief in myself all the time. And you are crazy. I have to work at that. I have to work to believe. I have to do work on my doubt. I have a human brain. So of course it offers me doubt all the time. And I wanted to explain why that is so you can stop giving yourself a hard time for doubting as well. Do you guys understand what we are asking ourselves to do? We are asking ourselves to believe in something that doesn't exist, that we have never done before. Can you believe that? Of course, we have a hard time believing that we can do something that we've never done before and that doesn't exist. Why would that come naturally? It truly just doesn't make sense. So I wanted you to just take a minute and acknowledge, hey, this is hard stuff. We're asking our brains to do something that is not easy and not natural and kind of weird. And it feels risky and vulnerable and scary to our brains. So have a lot of compassion for yourself. And as soon as I realized that, I had a lot of compassion for my doubt and was like, hey, this is not a problem that my brain is offering this. Of course it's offering this. And also it is optional. So if I want to, I can just choose to believe even without the evidence. And what I found is that that was easier some days than others. Some days I was like, oh yeah, you're right. I can just believe, how fun. And other days I was like, I don't think that's available to me. And I didn't make that a problem. I kept showing up. I didn't let it impact how I showed up. And like I said, those launch emails were already done, which was such a gift to myself during the launch, because then I was able to spend some time sitting with my feelings, enjoying sweatpants and wine, and not stressing out about having to do a bunch of stuff from a place of feeling a little shaky. All right, so let's talk about the implementation. Let's talk about what it was like during the launch. So like I said, the first week before the applications were open, I had 3 like preview tease kind of emails go out. And then Monday through Friday, the launch week, the applications were open. I sent a ton of emails and it was kind of calm, honestly. Like I felt a little bit of a roller coaster of emotion, but for the most part, I felt pretty calm about things. On the very first day, on Monday, I had a lot of applications. Monday, the first day of the 5, was the day that I got most of the applications. I am also a first day applier. So for those of you who applied on the first day, I see you, I am you. And as those were rolling in on Monday and I was just taking a look at who was applying and what they were saying, I was feeling so inspired. I felt so excited for what was about to happen. I felt so amazing for how this group was going to be and just the caliber of women who were going to be a part of it. And one of the comments in one of the applications kind of like triggered a little thought in my mind about something that I hadn't mentioned yet in the launch emails that I wanted to be sure to mention. And this email was all about how to create demand. And it was something that I hadn't talked about yet in the previously written launch emails. And I realized, oh my gosh, that's super important for people to know how demand fits into this mastermind, and it's going to help them know if they're the right fit for it now or not. So when I wrote that email that morning, Monday morning, I decided to set it up to go out Monday night. It ended up being my top performing email of the entire week. And I think it just really goes to show how when you're focused on what's going on in the mind of your ideal client, when you're focused on serving them, and when you're feeling really inspired about that, great stuff comes out of you. So being in that energy was really, really valuable and really ended up impacting the launch in a great way. And I got a ton of amazing feedback about that email. So speaking of emails, I want to say probably a lot of you received all of those emails, and we can be honest about this. They were a lot of emails. Like, I'm going to allow that as a fact. That's a lot of emails to send out in a week. And I actually got an email response from someone scolding me about how many emails it was. And they were like, this is way too many emails. I highly recommend that you don't send this many emails. I'm unsubscribing now. And that was the only complaint that I got. And yeah, I got a lot of unsubscribes. I lost probably about 10% of my list during this launch. And guess what? I'm pretty sure those people are not people who are going to buy. And that's just kind of the reality of a launch. And when you're showing up and being very, very visible, I'll also tell you that I got a lot of comments about my emails being amazing and being valuable, even from people who didn't qualify to apply for this round of the mastermind. They felt inspired. They felt like this was so much value, like they were learning so much reading my emails. And I know that my people could see that there was value there and that they were so excited to be receiving all of it. So take that to heart as well. There's always going to be some people who don't like what you're doing, and those aren't your people. And when you send emails, people are going to unsubscribe. It happens every time, and it's not a problem. It's actually a great, great thing that they're not interested and they're removing themselves. No problem. All right, so after the first 5 days, I had 19 applications. And this was Friday night. This was over the weekend. I decided over the weekend, hey, I'm just going to sit with how incredible it is that I have created this amazing group of women, that I have this fantastic mastermind coming together, that this launch is a smashing success. And I'm just going to sit in how incredible that feels over the weekend. And then I meet with my one-on-one coach, Bev, on Monday mornings. So on Monday morning, my assistant sent out invitations and invoices to everyone that we accepted into the mastermind. And then I coached with my coach to decide what I wanted to do. And I felt like I was kind of at a crossroads. I could either decide, hey, this is amazing. I got most of the way to my goal. This group is fantastic. Next time I know I'm going to blow it out of the water. Or I could decide to keep selling. And she really challenged me to stand for my mastermind, stand up for my goal, guarantee my results, prove to myself that I create my results, and be willing to get uncomfortable in that process. And in this, I also realized that I just kind of had this feeling like there was just more women out there who should be a part of it. And I had a couple people actually in mind who I thought should be a part of this. And I didn't know, of course, who was going to say yes, who was also interested. And I decided with my coach that I was going to reach out to people. And I have to tell you, I don't think that I have ever done this before in my business. I am very much a let people come to you kind of person. I am not somebody making offers in the DMs. And I found this extremely uncomfortable. I had a lot of thoughts about how it would come off as pushy or I would be judged. And I had a lot of resistance. And ultimately, I decided that the real lesson for me was going to be in not letting what other people might think about me control how I show up. And I thought, even if I don't fill the remaining spot, I will feel happy thinking I've paid to get that lesson. Like the money that I don't make from filling the mastermind is like money that I have paid to learn the lesson of letting go of what other people think of me and making my decisions based on that. And so from that place, I reached out to people that I just had those thoughts about, that I thought, I think they're supposed to be here. I either knew that they were interested or they were people that I had worked with before who I really just thought were a perfect fit for my mastermind and knew that my mastermind could help them get where they wanted to go. And I decided to just come out and say it. So I reached out to these people and I ended up overfilling the spots based on my reach outs, which was incredible. But I think the most fascinating thing for me is in doing this, how people responded. So my initial thought was, they're not going to like this. They're going to think this is icky. And what they actually thought was how flattering that Samantha's reaching out to me, which I just found totally incredible and exciting that was the response from people. So let's talk about the final results. We are now after the launch. The program's already started. The mastermind's already started. I filled 22 spots. I have 22 fantastic, amazing, brilliant, beautiful, everything women in this program. I did $232,000 in sales with this launch. But most importantly, I learned to not make decisions based on what other people would think of me. And I was not exhausted, burned out, or drained after the launch. I didn't hustle at all. I took a vacation after the launch, and I kind of had this secret backup plan. Like, I can just nap and sleep by the pool the whole time if I need to. I didn't need to sleep the whole time. I actually took a bunch of costumes with me, and we did these crazy costume parties every single night. I had so much energy. I felt so good after this launch because I didn't hustle. This launch ended up being more than double my previous biggest launch ever. And yet it was the most relaxed I feel like I have ever heard of anyone being with a launch. Probably the most relaxed I've ever felt because it was such a short time period. I filled those 22 spots in 9 days and really, truly feel like I proved to myself, hey, you can set a goal. You can do whatever it takes to hit that goal. And you can do that without hustling or depleting yourself. And what's so fun to me is that is one of the things that I teach in the mastermind. And I love that I lived it in the launch of that mastermind where I teach no hustle. The last thing I want to share with you is my biggest lesson from this launch. I noticed a pattern in myself emerge during this launch that now I am seeing a lot of different places in my life. And this is this idea that people have already decided if they're a yes or a no to work with you. And what I noticed as I was planning my launch, going into it, as I was executing it throughout the week, I kept having this thought. People have already decided that they're a yes or a no. And this thought made me feel very resigned and defeated. And it had me not wanting to do more. It had me wanting to kind of withdraw, give up. It was kind of this why bother kind of attitude. If they've already decided if they're a yes or a no, what's even the point of me doing a launch, right? If they've already decided, I should just do one email where I'm like, hey, you in? And then just leave it at that. And what I realized is that the truth is, yeah, there's some people who have already decided they're a yes and some who have already decided there's a no. And there's a huge group of people in the middle who want to be sold on what you're offering. There was a huge group of people in the middle who wanted to be sold on my mastermind. And some of them wanted that selling to happen through a personal reach out from me. That was the thing that they needed to take the plunge. So if you find yourself thinking that people have already decided, or if they were going to be a yes, they would have reached out by now, this is a lie. And the way that you know it's a lie is in how it makes you feel and how it makes you show up in your business, and how that creates a self-fulfilling prophecy of you not selling and therefore you not getting any more yeses. So if you find yourself doing this, stop. People want to be sold on what you offer. They will love being sold on what you offer. All right, mamas, I will talk to you again back here next week. If you like this podcast, I want to invite you to coach with me over in my program, Mama to CEO. There's you, and there's the consistent income you want to make in your business, and I help you remove everything standing in between. It's lifetime access for mastering your marketing, sales, time, and everything else you need to have the business and life you really want. Whether it's making your first 1,000 or 100,000, I can help you do it. To join, go to mamatoceo.com, mamatoceo.com.